Very early off the throttle, and there's a yellow flag again! Something has happened again! Welcome back to the 1994 Formula 1 season in Automobilista 2 on this channel, where today we arrive at Hockenheim, one of the fastest tracks on the calendar, and maybe another chance for us to get Zanardi and the late Team Lotus some glory. This race in real life saw an absolutely crazy result as 10 cars were taken out on a crash at the start, including our guy Zanardi, and the traditionally high attrition rates in terms of mechanical faults at Hockenheim to that. And you got only 8 finishers that race, with Berger winning this one from pole for Ferrari, with the 2 Ligiers completing the podium. With that in mind, I go ambitious for that one as well, as I aim for the 2nd points finish off the season again, because we've done well in Hockenheim, quite literally my home track, and we come off the back of a P7 finish at Silverstone. However, it'll be difficult to achieve, as you see a Ferrari 1-2 on the grid, just as it was in real life, while Zanardi only qualified 21st for this one. And now, without further ado, let's go racing at Hockenheim. Well, here we are then. 5 red lights are on, and the lights go green here at Hockenheim, and it's a chaotic getaway already, as Jos Verstappen gets held up by one of the footworks just ahead. Almost 4 wide we go into turn 1, but luckily the situation resolves itself. So we gained 1 position net here, as then we approach the very fast but very tight run through the forest, where you can barely fit 3 cars alongside each other. But then there is some room on the outside, approaching the braking for the first chicane in the forest. And that sees up, move up to P17. And now we are behind Pierluigi Martini in the Minardi Ford, pole qualifying for the 2 Minardis. They weren't too bad actually in real life in 94. This is just after they merged with Scuderia Italia, the team also known as the Lara, for the most part. Well, we have made some contact there with the rear wing of Martini, and now we are alongside one driver that has caused some chaos this season already. Karl Wendlinger into the 3rd and last chicane in the forest we go. And now we're just behind our teammate Johnny Herbert, approaching the entry to the Motordrome, the part of the circuit that still exists today. Very quick right-hander with a blind apex. This is a bit difficult to take, as we miss exactly that apex. Into the Sachskurve we go. Pretty much all line astern now, but the battles will commence again as soon as we re-enter the forest. It's quite the long lap, the 2nd longest on the calendar. Funnily enough, the longest one will be the next race at Spa-Francorchamps, where we will run 7 kilometers per lap. But it's still a comparably pretty quick lap, so we will also see a pretty quick race this year. And then on the straight, it's a bit curious, because we should gain in the slipstream. We do gain on the braking. Well, it feels like we're lacking a bit of straight line speed. And now there's a bit of a fear for me. Because usually in practice for this race we were quicker than the AI on the straights. Oh, and there is a yellow flag as we approach the 2nd chicane in the forest. And there is a lazy spun round. Oh, a big queue of cars forming there, trying to go through the chicane. We take advantage of that situation, move up to P12. This time we don't run in the back of anyone, as it happened at Montreal. Alongside Martin Brundle we go to the final chicane. We battled him for over a lap at Silverstone 2 weeks ago. Will it be as exciting of a battle today? Well, for the moment, Brundle is able to stay ahead. And yeah, my suspicion is that we have a bit of front wing damage because I'm lacking a bit of grip in the corner. As look at that, one of the Legiers tries to overtake us around the outside into the Zaxco, but that doesn't work. But yeah, my fear is that I have a bit of front wing damage from the contact with Martini and from the situation at the start where there might have also been some contact with one of the cars ahead. So I decide to fix aero damage in our one pit stop that we will do some point midway through the race. And here is a replay of that situation that caused that traffic jam ahead of the Ostkurve. So this is a Lazy and Berger battling for first. Oh, and then a Lazy spun round by Damon Hill. Now this is interesting. Oh, and then he does a Wendlinger and tries to rejoin very, very unsafely. Yeah, this is just not what you like to see, is it? As again, we approach that corner where the situation happened exactly 2 laps ago. And very early off the throttle, and there's a yellow flag again! Something has happened again! There's someone spinning out. I don't know who that was. I think it was it Frentzen? I think Frentzen was at the head of that group. And now he has been spun round, just as a Lazy was. So back into P12 we go. This time we let them all by again, because we cut the chicane there and again find ourselves behind Martin Brundle. But this time we managed to get past the Briton in the McLaren Peugeot. As once again we are running towards the Motodrome. But yeah, look at this. The straight line speed of the AI is so much better, and this again fuels my suspicion that there is something wrong with the front wing. Lack of grip through the corners and drag in a straight line, which is something that always happens in these open wheel cars in Automobilista 2. You have some front wing damage, you have some drag on the straights, and yeah, we'll definitely get that fixed at our pit stop. But at least with the slipstream we were able to stay with a group of cars ahead. As again, through turn 1 we go. And this is a good opportunity now, as we get the slipstream of multiple cars there. Brundle goes off the throttle, almost as it felt like. But now he's back on the power. And oh, we even get passed by one of the Legiers in the background. There is Rubens Barrichello also trying to get past us. We get the position back from the Legier and are up to P12 again. But that battle still is not over. Towards the second chicane we go. Will the AI make it through cleanly this time? Not quite. Again, some trouble for some cars ahead. Oh, but this time I can't take advantage of it. Quite the contrary, actually. As they struggle on the power, Barrichello goes through and we drop to P13. Do we get a run? No, actually, again, the Ligier behind us gets the run. And I think that was... Is it Olivier Panis? I think it was Panis. Well, he dropped back from us now, as we didn't leave him much room there on the exit of the third chicane. And going into the final corner, Barrichello had a bit of a moment there. Now we're in his slipstream. We decide to go for the outside. I don't know if this is the smartest choice because he closes the door and then there is not enough room. And again, we're vulnerable too. Well, that's not the Ligier anymore. Because that is Heinz-Harald Frentzen. He's going for a move. Be careful. Again, there's a green flag, which means there is a yellow behind us. And Frentzen just goes through cleanly there. We try to stay alongside the Sauber, but we don't manage to do so. So we have to do it into the final chicane or on the approach to it. Have a look down the inside. No room then. Go towards the outside. Hope that Barrichello helps us a bit by blocking Frentzen. He just does that. And same thing as we've done with the Ligier, we do with Frentzen. Though this time, I feel much better about it because of the trouble that Frentzen has caused this season. So there's no harm! Quite the contrary to what happened there. Barrichello coming together with the other Ligier. And that's another easy position gain for us. As looks like the AI completely forgot how to drive, or how to battle actually in this race. The next situation where one car spins the other round. Well, I can be happy still with this, because remember we have a car that is a bit damaged at the front. And we are still running in P11, not too far away with a point from the points. And we will get that damage fixed for the second half of the race. Well, but then I do some damage to myself, or well, to my race rather, as I run wide out of the exit of turn 1. And I think that was just Verstappen getting past us in the Benetton. And now another car that should rather be at the front, Jean Alesi. We know what happened to him. It was just Verstappen just underperforming in the Benetton, as he did in real life. Jean Alesi has been spun around while battling for the lead. And by just talking over it, I hope you missed that I was missing the first chicane. As again, I find myself in a battle with the two Ligiers. They are both behind me now. But going into the second chicane, we manage to stay ahead of them for the moment, as we're now really getting close to the pit stop window. Around 10 liters per lap we need. So going into lap 10, we can say, well, I think lap 15 maybe is when we will have to stop. But that also means that from now on, we could stop and go to the end of the race, which might be worth a shot considering our front wing damage and the flat spot we have on the front right tire. As I'm late on the brakes, I get past the Ligier that was just ahead of us. I missed who it was because we have both of them fighting with us. Oh, but there again they go. Eric Bernard, who we dive down the inside of again. He's off the road. And I think now Panis has taken his position. Has he? They're side by side going through the Ostkurve. But yeah, look at that. The drag is really terrible. And then it's Bernard past. Oh, and I spin it! Two wheels on the grass. Again, some contact with the rear wing then of Bernard. And, oh, that's a shame. One of the Jordans is through there as well. I think that's it has to be Barrichello. And that's the final straw. I decide to go into the pits now. Nowadays, you would call it an undercut. Here, I'm not too sure. Because, well, we will have a heavier car at the end of it. So I don't know if this is really an advantage, but that flat spot and the front wing damage now becoming too much of a disadvantage. So, yeah. I think it's better to go in the pits now and get some clear air while they all battle and take each other out. And maybe, yeah, we can still gain from that earlier pit stop that we will do. So, we're stopping on our marks, fuel is going in and the tires are being changed simultaneously. This is good news. This race, of course, also famous for the big pit fire for Jos Verstappen that you all saw and probably know of. Nothing of that sort happens to us as we leave the pits last on the road, just behind the two Simtex. And already at the end of our outlap, we were catching up to one of them. Maybe we can even overtake them going across the pit straight. Well, we can't. But then out of turn 1 we should get a good slipstream. We even try the up and under, but there's a lot of dirt on the inside of that corner. So that rather holds us back. So we have to go for the slipstream. But this one brings us closer and past David Brabham we go. And up to P25. But these are not the cars that we should be battling. Roland Ratzenberger, the next car ahead, as we are getting to the end of lap 13. And lap 13 is when the game predicted me to come in at the beginning of this lap. I would have gotten to lap 14, maybe even 15, with the fuel that I started this race on, but a lot of the AI drivers had to come in, and that gains us a lot of positions into the slipstream of Rubens Barrichello we go, who himself is just behind Eric Bernard. We can now confirm that the earlier pit stop did actually help us, because we were battling the two Ligiers just before our spin, and therefore we came on in quite the long distance behind them. But now, after they had made their pit stop, we were ahead and we were gaining still. That damage fixed and that flat spot fixed as well really got us closer, as again there is a hairy situation between Martini and Irvine going into the chicane at the Ostkurve. We take the escape road to avoid crashing into them. Then of course we lift off to not gain an advantage from that situation. But from now on we will be able to battle them. There is a bit of an opening alongside Martini. Martini goes off the road. We kind of scare him off the road, I feel like. And that is one of these two positions gained, as we are entering the Motordrome behind Irvine. And Irvine defends the inside going into the first corner. We try the up and under therefore. Again, same issue as with Brabham. There is a bit of dirt on the inside, but then on the approach towards the first chicane we are already alongside and past Irvine. Let's just hope he does not break us, which he really doesn't. So up to P11. Now this is the highest position that we managed to run in our first stint. This is not the end of the day, as we're now behind the Tyrrell of Ukyu Katayama and the Benetton of Jos Verstappen, who made it similarly through the field as we did. We started just behind him and now we've caught up to him again. But first let's get past Katayama using the slipstream. And then we get some more slipstream from Verstappen. We can even attack the Dutchman. And we even make it past him going into the first chicane. We squeeze him there on the outside. We just managed to hold on. Did we leave the track there? I think we just stayed on the white line with two tires. So I think that move should be fine. But now Verstappen got the better exit and may be able to counter this attack. Round the outside he goes. Oh, we keep a wheel alongside, and now I don't even have to feel bad about potentially leaving the track there at the first chicane, because Verstappen absolutely did leave the track there and still stayed ahead. Well, momentarily, as again we get a better run towards the third chicane. Again, not a good exit, and Verstappen will be able to counter this, as I will now let you enjoy this battle and stay silent for a bit. Well, and again, we are past, going towards the second chicane. This is where he repassed us the lap earlier, leading to another long-lasting battle. But this time he's nowhere to be seen into the braking zone. So we now have the position. We are in 8th, and we can see the next 2 cars ahead of us. And if we manage to pass them in the remaining 5.5 laps, well, make that 4 laps and 1 corner, then we would be in the points. So at the moment it's Mark Blundell in 6th with the Tyrrell, just under 1 second ahead of Jean Alesi in 7th, and behind Alesi it's just 1.8 seconds to us in 8th. So watch me hunt them down as we are in a battle for the final point of this race. But this time it looks like we have to do it on the road, and Alesi has already caught up to the rear wing of that Tyrrell, and already it looks like he's going for a move. Can he get past Blundell? I think he can. Will they take each other out? No. This time they manage it cleanly, and Alesi, after being spun out on the second lap of this race, at least recovers to the points. But as I said, we want to have a bit of a word about this. The final 3 laps of this race have just begun, and we are in the slipstream of Blundell. We're getting close to him, but not close enough to make a move for the moment. If we nail the exit out of this one, we might have a chance into the next corner, but he is still close to Alesi. It would be the first point for the Tyrrell team this year. Blundell came 7th once before. Well, but now we try to do something about this. Trying to demote him to 8th. Didn't work, as I was too early on the brakes. even looked like we will have a chance against a Lazy. But now, towards the final chicane we go. We're on the outside for the braking zone. We move ahead of Blondell out of the braking zone. And then it was just Jean Lazy between the final point scoring position and ourselves. Into the Motordrome we get alongside, but this is really not a corner where I try to make a move, at least not in a Formula 1 car. DTM, well, I saw different things. And that amazing title fight that we had in DTM last year. Wittmann versus Guven. Probably one of the most, of the greatest things I've ever seen on a racetrack live. But we shouldn't worry about that right now, as this is a good exit out of turn 1. Can we pass a Lazy? It's looking very good indeed. We are past the Ferrari now and up to P6, and now we have to keep that position for 1 3/4 of a lap, but a Lazy tries to get back ahead of us round the outside, which turns the inside. Ooh, I almost spin the car there as I tried to be as early on the power as possible, but that was too early for my little Lotus Honda. And that has lost us quite the big chunk of time, which I tried to make up into the braking zone here. And then on the throttle, again, there is a bit of a twitch. Calm down now. Collect yourself. It's not gonna work this lap. But after this one, there is lap 23, the last one of this race. And it will go down to the last lap, as again, I'm late on the brakes. Too late this time. We were close briefly, but immediately we lose that time gain because, well, I only gained it because I was too late for that corner. Penultimate time through the stadium section. Do we get another chance? Or will a Lazy run away with it? And again, we will finish 7th. Still hopes that someone is in the pits retiring of the top 6. Not the case. We have to do it on track, and it looks like we're pretty far away from a Lazy, but there's no car ahead of him at all to give him some slipstream, and we will get all of that nice and tasty slipstream. And talk about that, look! We weren't even too far back again into the first chicane. We are alongside. It's the same situation as the lap prior, but this time I am much more careful there with the throttle application, and we managed to hang on round the outside. But then Lazy goes for it again. Just close that bit of room that I might have been on the outside. And then it's just 2 very long straights for us to survive. Checking the mirrors, where is that scarlet red V12 Ferrari? Is he showing himself? Yes, he is. Middle of the road defending. Oh, running a bit wide there on the exit. But still, we managed to get the power down well. And then it's only that small bit. And if he doesn't do it here, I don't think he's doing it anywhere. Through the Sachskurve, past the fans, for the final time we go. And again, it will be a successful race for us in these classic F1 seasons at Hockenheim. Round the final corner we come to score the 2nd point of our season. We managed to finish P6 after all at the Hockenheimring. And here is the confirmation. We finish P6, score the final point of this race. 40 seconds behind race leader Gerhard Berger, who won this race just as in real life, but unlike in real life, the podium is much more expectable with Häkkinen and Hill completing it. Senna and Schumacher, a bit of a disappointing race for both of them as they finish 4th and 5th respectively. In the championship situation, that means that Hill is getting closer to Schumacher again, just 2 points behind his rival, Ayrton Senna. Oh, he is still suffering from that DNF at Montreal, as he is 13 points behind Michael Schumacher, but still, with 6 races to go, nothing is lost for him. Gerhard Berger moves up to P4 with that race win today. And then on the second part of the page, we see Barrichello, best of the rest, just ahead of Verstappen. We're still in 9th, though 1 point clear now of Martin Brundle in the second McLaren, who is the final driver that has scored points so far this season. And then here's the Constructors' Championship. Williams still running away with it, as it seems. Benetton in second, but they only have 1 competent driver so far. Ferrari, with that race win of Berger, is getting a bit closer, so need Benetton to worry about the prancing horse as well. We will see as the season progresses. McLaren pretty much clear in 4th, and then it's Jordan and Lotus, the final 2 teams that have scored points so far. And that has been it with the German Grand Prix 1994. The next race will take place in the Ardennes as we go racing at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. Subscribe to not miss that, leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and I hope to see you all the next time. Until then, goodbye.